Hi, welcome to Practicing Love. My name is TJ Moonen. I'll be one of your hosts tonight. It's been a crazy couple of weeks since the last time we recorded. A lot has gone down, a lot has happened, and most of you know by watching Bud Vino on his social media page. He's going to be getting some physical things taken care of, and he's going to have to step down from being the co-host for now. With the way things work is just incredible. I was speaking with Greg Fedor and asked him to join us, perhaps take over for Bud for the interim until he comes back. And now, as it turns out, Greg's very happy to be here and do it, and it could perhaps be on a permanent basis. The first thing I want to do tonight is talk about Bud. The first episode of the show, way back when, Bud was our guest, and I didn't have a co-host. It was just going to be me and the production team that we had to do the show. And the show went over so well that I asked Bud to join me. And he agreed to join the team, and he's only made the show just take off. You know, we've gotten a lot of comments about our mixture of personalities. I'm very laid back. He's very outgoing. Brings a lot of pop and zest to the show, and really helped establish an identity for the show. Now he's going to be leaving and turning the reins over to Greg Fedor. And while it's a huge loss for Practicing Love, Bud's going to come back bigger and better, doing many different things in his life. And hopefully one of those will be to be a part of Practicing Love in the future. We've talked about some possibilities, and my brother, I just can't thank you enough for everything, and he means the world to me.
Thanks, brother. Thanks, pal. Yo, 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 and yo. I said I was going to stay away, but I just couldn't. We say everything happens for a reason. It does. Greg, I want to welcome in Greg Fedor. I guess maybe TJ should do that, but as the outgoing host, I'll say that, Greg, welcome.
Thank you.
The torch has passed.
The torch is now passed, and I'll say this. The physical issues, we're getting those taken care of, not a big deal. And I didn't, as I discussed with TJ and Greg over breakfast, and Greg and I privately when TJ left, I didn't feel like I could commit, especially with things going on, really heating up with my son. And also the direction the show is going, honestly, and as I discussed with both of them, I didn't feel, when something doesn't feel right to me, that doesn't mean anything was necessarily wrong. I felt at this point, and the Greg was, as I've discussed, was a natural transition, that Greg would benefit the show and the people and TJ more than I would as the host. So the funny thing is that my thing is going to do this empowerment coach thing, and that's always been my thing, is that sort of direction. But I didn't feel like that sort of flair was going to be conducive consistently with the direction of that I thought the show could go in terms of, the studies and different things where people could really research.
Right.
That being said, I know I spoke to Owen. I want to give a shout out to Owen Preventure, Babette, Chris Martin, everybody out there. Joel, everybody, TJ especially, and Greg Fedor, for making this so effortless and seamless, because it wasn't something that we had to really work on to get somebody in here. And Owen discussed, and TJ and I did, and then when Owen and I discussed, I think you'll see me back doing some sort of a segment on empowerment, because I think, as opposed to making it all kind of convoluted, we'll let them stick with everything, and they've graced me with allowing me to come back in that form, and it will free me up to do other things. So you guys, love you, everybody out there, keep fighting, fellow warriors. Believe in the message, not the messengers. Amen. Remember that.
Right.
Amen.
And keep empowering yourselves, and we're going to do that, and you're going to get that from Greg. You're going to get a lot of knowledge from Greg Flair. This is a genuine man, so you're in for it either way. They're going to succeed because it's for the right reasons. I couldn't be more proud to know these guys and to know everybody here in the movement, the people I've met, and we just go with the flow, as we discussed. Go with the flow. It's supposed to happen this way. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you to my wife, my best buddy Mason and Carter. Again, guys, come on. I love you guys. Keep fighting. Keep kicking butt. Keep loving, and you cannot fail if you're going from right here. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Awesome. That's great, Bud. Everything you said is perfect. I certainly appreciate all the support that you're giving me and stepping in, taking over the reins a little bit for you. You did a great job of setting a foundation for practicing love. You gave it a lot of flair. You gave it a lot of energy, which, you know, always, this show is always going to have that energy and flair and that enthusiasm that you bring. And I want to take that torch and we want to move it in a slightly different way, but we're always going to have Bud Vino. All right?
Thanks, bro.
Bud Vino's always a part of this program.
Love boys.
He's always a part of the family.
Love you, pal. Go
You
get
know,
him. Go get him, boys. Anybody out there, much love.
Right. So I appreciate it very much, Bud. And TJ, I appreciate this opportunity as well. You're a great guy. I'm looking forward to moving forward, and let's get this show started.
Awesome.
So it begins.
Okay, thank you, Bud Vino. Bud's gonna has to be taken off now. He's got an appointment with his lawyer, and my hope is that the next time we see Bud here on set, he'll have Carter with him. That's my hope. Like I said, I can't thank Bud enough for all he's done. And Greg, our show's gonna take off from here. We get some great new segments coming up. And the first one is we're gonna have a call-in feature. Now, in the future, what we'll be doing is having a segment to call in, so that if you would like to discuss the day's topic, you can call and give us your opinion. Anyways, today's our first guest on the phone is an amazing man. He's got decades of experience in working with parents and so many people. He worked on the John Benet Ramsey case. He was on the Michael Jackson case. He's just a very well-rounded man. And today we're going to be talking with Dean Tong. I believe Dean's on the line now. Is that correct? You with us, Dean?
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Hi, Dean.
Hey, good morning.
How you doing today?
Good, thanks for having me.
Excellent. It's so good to finally talk to you. We've been trying this. We tried the video a couple times and didn't work out. And it's great to have you on the show. I wanted to ask. I know you sent me your resume, and it's just out of this world. And it would take me too long to go over the whole thing, but I was hoping to focus today on false allegations. And if you wouldn't mind, could you give us a little history of your work in the area of false allegations?
Yeah, it's good to be talking with guys with a Boston accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a forensic trial consultant and expert. My specialty are child victim hearsay cases, he said, she said, what a child said.
Nice.
Also get involved in cases where men and fathers are falsely accused of domestic violence, actually any type of abuse, and mothers also. Mothers get charged with failure to protect.
Right.
Get charged with coaching kids to make allegations of incest, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my specialty. My website is abuse-excuse.com. It's been on the internet for 20 years. I surpassed 1 million hits on Super Bowl Sunday a few
Awesome.
months ago. Yeah, so I've been hired in cases from all 50 states, specialize in high conflict divorces, custody battles, child abuse, child neglect cases, mainly sexual abuse, but I also do physical abuse, Munchausen by proxy, basically you name it, shaken baby syndrome. Obviously, I've been doing this work for 3 decades now, so it's not just what you know, it's who you know. And I'm out there with the major players. Unfortunately, because this issue, you're presumed guilty, and you have to prove a negative and your innocence to basically disprove the monster that you've been painted to be. There are 2 divisive camps. You have the mother's camp what they call the protective parents camp, and you have the falsely accused fathers camp. I'm somewhere on the 50-yard line in the middle. But unfortunately, because this is such a divisive issue, you tend to, get a lot of flack from lawyers and judges and guardians ad litem in these cases because it's so emotionally embroiled with these allegations, which of course are reprehensible and heinous when they happen. But with that said, all it needs for a father to be exterminated from the nuclear family, to go to jail, to possibly go to prison for life and lifelong sex offender registration is an allegation that you touched your daughter's pee-pee at the age of 3 or 4, and they don't need any physical medical proof. That's all they need.
Right.
So that's what I specialize in, and I take my job very seriously. Obviously, I do get involved in cases where people cannot afford my services in criminal court or juvenile dependency court against Child Protective Services. The judge will order the state to pay my fees. So, we're trying to get that changed legislatively so the family courts will also give money to parents who don't have the money for lawyers and experts to be able to have that dream team, to be able to fight back against a system that is not only unaccountable, but has unlimited resources.
Right. Awesome. Dean, Greg Fedor is in studio with me. He's our new co-host. Greg, do you have any questions for Dean?
Yeah, Dean. He said over there, TJ said, I'm Greg Fedor. I'm also a co-host with TJ. Obviously, you have a lot of background with this sort of issue, and it's an issue that's going throughout the family courts. Pretty significant problem. It's something that I believe the family courts don't do very well. In fact, I think they do it exceptionally poorly. Because of your background, how did you start to get into this, and what kind of propelled you to take a look at this angle and move forward in this direction?
Well, a couple of things. One, I, of course, am a victim myself, so I've walked in your shoes. If you've been down this road, I was accused of molesting my daughter when she was 3 in 1985. I got arrested. I was facing 25 years to life in prison in Florida, in my state down here. It was obviously a traumatic experience for me. And back then, we didn't have the law and psychology and the studies that we have now. We didn't have iPods and iPhones and iPads and computers and all that stuff. None of that was around when I got arrested and accused of this in 1985. So I took it under my wing that this was a serious issue. Did I think I'd be doing this for a living and become an expert in courts across America in cases? No, I had no clue. And I didn't think that this issue would be as pervasive as it has gotten to be, and it wouldn't be cured by the time the new millennium cracked open in 2000. Well, here we are. My website was, initiated on the internet in 1997, 20 years ago. And like I said, I've hit 1 million hits already. So that's an average of 50,000 hits over 20 years.
Right.
And that's a lot of traffic for one guy.
No.
So either I'm really, really good at what I do, and or this is a really, really pervasive epidemic problem.
Well, I tend to think both there, Dean. It definitely is a pervasive problem. And obviously it sounds like you've had personal experience with this. Was there any specialized training or courses that you decided?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, so when I got hit with this, all I had was a bachelor's degree in biology with, minors in pre-medicine and psychology. So yeah. I didn't, I published my first book in 1992, Don't Blame Me, Daddy, 25 years ago. And I've written 2 other books since then, and I have a peer-reviewed scientific journal article to my name as well. But
nice.
Of course, I went on to get a master's in psychology and the law in the specialized field of child forensic studies in 2006, and have testified now in 15 different states as an expert, and multiple states where you guys are airing this show from in New England.
Yeah.
But, beyond that, what I have found is it's not just a biased, incompetent, or I should say naive and unwitting family court, child protective services court system, criminal court as well. It's a system where lawyers don't get this stuff in law school. No lawyer gets a course in litigating and trying false abuse cases in law school. They may get a mention or smattering of this, but there's no actual course on it, to my knowledge. And so you're dealing with attorneys, guys that get hit, whether they've been accused of raping their kid or beating their wife, with hiring a lawyer who will tell you, yeah, I've been down that road. I've successfully tried 30 cases. They'll never give you their references because they're all attorney-client privileged.
Right.
And they take your retainer check, and lo and behold, you're sitting there like duck soup, waiting for something to happen, and you paid them $5 or $10 grand, and nothing's happening, and now all of a sudden the kid's in psychotherapy, unilaterally placed there by the mother and perhaps the guardian ad litem, and now the kid's making further new allegations. So that's why I am very, very different as an expert in these cases because of my knowledge in the law, not just the science of psychology, mental health, but the law. So I babysit lawyers. It's what I do, and I don't really care if they care that I do.
Right.
Because it's necessary, and I want to win on the defense side as bad as the prosecution, and perhaps a hell-bent mother wants to win on the other side.
Right.
So, and you got to be aggressive, but you got to be knowledgeable, and of course there's the necessary ingredient of intersecting science and the law, and that's published on the homepage of my website. Very necessary that there's a clear intersection of mental health, psychology, behavioral science, social science, and the law in these cases, and executed in court. So the lawyer has to know the rules of procedure, rules of court, when to object, grounds for objection, the case law, perhaps reeling off an ore tennis, a verbal oral motion in real time. So when I'm not on the witness stand giving opinions to reasonable degrees of psychological scientific certainty, I'm assisting the trial lawyer at trial with questions on direct and cross and redirect and recross. That's what I do.
I see.
Let me ask you this, Dean.
You said that lawyers aren't taught this in college. Has anyone tried to add a course to the curriculum of any